adjust this up. Or maybe I need to just sit like this. I know it's been a bit since I've been on. Last week was kind of a busy week. I wanted to get through Thursday, which I did. And it didn't go quite as... But, you know, God had another plan and it worked out. And yesterday was Thanksgiving, which was another big day, as I'm sure y'all know. You probably all just kind of got the post-Thanksgiving bleh. So, happy post-Thanksgiving. I want to thank you very much for those who have been very patient with me. Kelly, I've had insomnia since I was 7, so I don't sleep a lot. And I figured I needed to get some things done, so I'd check in with my peeps and see how everybody was doing. Trying to get you up here so I can see the chat. Because it pops up here real quick. Oh, now it popped over here, even though hopefully it'll go back over here. I turned the volume down so that I can go over and get my chat working, and then my ear pops over there. Let me see if I can take it out and start over again. How are you this morning, Kelly? I got a bunch of stuff done today. Yesterday I worked on my first fabric postcards. They turned out pretty cool. For my first ones. Let me see if I can lift this up a little bit. I'm sorry to hear that, Kelly. It's hard. My chosen sister struggles with anxiety, amongst other neurological things, and so that's been a journey since 2020, mid-2020. So lots of hugs. They turned out beautiful. I tried to put up a picture, but for some reason when I'm choosing my thumbnail, it's giving me a blank, and it says it has trouble uploading it. You're very welcome, Kelly. I'll be praying for you. Let me see if I can bring up a picture and give you a peek of what I did. I didn't have time to put the face on it. See if I can, I was going to try and turn this, but it was a snowman. And sometimes I can get this to, oh, there she is. I didn't have time to sew the face on, and this is one of the, I made 2 with different scarves, and my sister put the face on because this is the one she picked for her daughter, my niece. And I thought she did a real good job just using a Sharpie to get a face on. It was kind of a whim yesterday morning. She really wanted a nice card for her daughter. And all of a sudden I thought, well, I've been wanting to try this. So let me see if I can get this to settle again. See if I can hit this again. So that, because I had it. Shoot. The light isn't the best. And I got the other one to show up, but this one isn't showing up. But anyway, I made one with a polka dot scarf and one with a bandana scarf. And I thought for my first try they turned out pretty good. I wish I have to figure out how to do the zigzag around it better, because I didn't quite like how it turned out on the postcard part, but that's part of learning. And I've had I've had these patterns for, uh, shoot, I wish I could get this consistent where it would show. Of course, I wish I could figure out why YouTube doesn't let me upload a thumbnail. Now, see, I got it to do it a few minutes ago. But anyway, they're both, well, not identical. The pattern called for them all to be facing to the left. And like a silly goose, I thought I could make two by cutting the heat and bond I was using, just cutting two at a time. And then I realized that the other one was the wrong orientation, and I thought, well, why does it have to be left facing? Why can't I just do it in the corner on the right and continue on? Good morning, Kathy. Thank you, Kelly. I saw a picture from a friend on Facebook a year or so ago, and she had made the snowman a nativity, like the Grinch hand holding an ornament, and I sourced out where she got her pattern, so right before Christmas I got the pattern and put it in my book. I'll get to it. It's probably difficult. It actually really wasn't that difficult. In this pattern, I've watched a ton of tutorials on postcards, not in a while, but this pattern just walked you through, and it was really simple. So I was happy with how it turned out, except for my zigzag around the edge, but isn't that kind of the way it goes? Move the light. This was my original sewing. Was this third of the den, and so in this little area I pretty much stored and did everything. My machine's over there, my sewing area's over here. So this was my original workspace. Well, I got this beautiful kitchen island that I put in back over there for a cutting table. So, in that area, we're not even going to talk to that about that half of a den that she gave me. She finally, about 2.5 years ago, said, I don't want the den, take the whole den, because we're still in restructuring. So I had sewn up, right before I get distracted, I had sewn up these angel bodies in my idea, and I have another stack of about 10 to sew, and then there'll be some of each. These are ready to top stitch in order to do the last bit of stitching, which is folding and putting the stitch in here, and then the rest is but what I wanted to do, since I'm using gold metallic thread around the ones with the gold wings, and I have silver metallic thread for the ones with the silver wings, I wanted to get as many, ready at this stage so I could just bloop, 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 bloop. And I really had kind of wanted to have these done a bit ago, but there's been a bunch of different interruptions. Good morning, Nancy. It's very good to see you. I'm glad you could pop in. Good morning, Joe. How are you doing this morning? I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. I know it can kind of be hard because, hang on a minute, got my cord caught. I know it can be hard sometimes because we don't all have family, or we have different situations where we're missing people. But I hope that everybody had a good. And Joe, I know you asked me what my favorite project was from your live yesterday, and I, my brain was like fried after the day, so I want to go back and think about that because you have so many things that are my favorite. It did. I mean, it's almost hard to believe that we're on the verge of Christmas and 2025. Um, Kelly, it's true. Um, and I know some of y'all aren't believers, but when I look and read the New Testament and I look at Jesus' ministry, it wasn't the destination like where he went and gave the Sermon of the Mount where he did the Beatitudes. It was the interruptions. Oh, we've got 5,000 men, which didn't include the women and children, and we have nothing to feed them, and we're broke, send them away. Or he's at a wedding and, oh, they've run out of good wine, it's embarrassing, and his mother's asking him, and he does his first miracle. Or the lady tugging in the crowd, fighting to tug for a miracle, or Jairus coming for his daughter, or the woman at the well. All his ministry happened, major ministry happened in the interruptions, and he used them. And I think, I've been talking to a couple friends a lot about perspective. And perspective is such a big thing in life, but a lot of times we're not taught about how important it is. Because we can get upset that we're running late for work and get all anxious and frustrated about it. But when you stop and think about it, what did that 5 or 10 minute delay save you from or prepare you for? Back in 97 when I was working at a place, I was running late and I was frustrated, and I got out and I finally got on the road, and I was just, and I got not far from my house, and like if I had been on time, I would have had a wire on top of my car because this truck, the school bus went to turn, but they hadn't put any turn signal on or any warning, and it ended up going in the ditch and it hit the electric pole and it went across the intersection. And had I been on time, I'd have been in that intersection. And it gives you pause to think. There's a whole list floating out there. I lost my whole. There's a whole list of people out there on 9/11 that weren't in the building because of an interruption, because of a delay. They got a blister walking to the building and popped in to get a Band-Aid. Their kid was slow getting ready to go. They got stuck in traffic. They got a phone call. Mundane things that would normally frustrate us, but ended up saving their lives. And it's not always easy. It's not always easy. I was talking to a friend the other day a couple of days ago about the fact that we tend to be looking for the massive breakthroughs from God, the big miracles, the big things, the big, aerial fireworks to go boom and catch our attention. But we miss all the micro blessings that are part of the mercy he gives us new every day. I don't know if you know about those little snap pops that you can throw and they snap on the ground. And if you catch them just right, somebody will kind of start and wake up. There's so many of those during the day, and they're what we would call mundane. Like a sunset, a sunrise, a child's laugh, a beautiful flower, a rainbow, beautiful clouds. Somebody doing an act of kindness for us. Um, and God sprinkles them throughout our day, but because of all the noise, if we don't work at looking for them, and they can change our whole day. That's true. That's true, Kelly. It was not. It was not. It was not my. It was not part of my ongoing story. And there's many times where I get glimpses in God's rear view mirror that show me, oh my gosh, um, I was kind of upset on Thursday because for the past 3 years in November, well, last year they snuck it up on me in October, but they've done like a craft fair. We meet at church the third Thursday of the month, and it's all the older people. I was grandfathered in 4 years ago, but this year I'll actually be in about a month. I'll be actually the eligible age. But anyway, it was all crafters to do projects and bring them so people who couldn't get out and shop but wanted nice kind of handmade things could come and just get a few things. Well, last year didn't go so well, because what they asked for, they wanted for nothing. And this year, the thing was, I worked really hard and I made a bunch, and I focused on one main project. I had a few little ones. Let me get it. And the thing was 95% of the people that were there didn't stop gossiping about, well, not gossiping, wrong word. They were talking about the weather and how's your dog, and they couldn't take 5 minutes to come over and see what was there. And Deb did pretty good, which I was excited about. She did some woodworking and she needed some encouragement. I sold 2 things. But I focused on, kept saying small, inexpensive, so I had made these pocket prayer things. Now, when I make them, I make 4-patch, and I found this scripture, this fabric that you can cut up, and it has a cross in it. So when you're anxious or you're worried, you can put it in your pocket. These have this 4-patch, or your purse, or bedside table, and that kind of thing. I ended up giving one away to a lady who I knew really needed it. But I left and I was like, oh God, what was that all about? Did I pick the wrong project? I was second guessing. And we stopped at my friend's small vendor shop, and we didn't park in the normal place, and this lady walked up by the window, and I thought my sister knew her, and because I didn't recognize her, and so we rolled down the window, and my sister rolled down the window, and she just started talking, and she says, I just wanted to see if there was Southern hospitality left, and somebody would talk to a stranger out of the blue. And while she was talking, I felt like I should reach behind me in the bag and pick one of these out. And I handed it to her. Now this is not about me, this is about the point. I handed it to her, and I told her what it was, and she got tears in her eyes, and she says, I'm mourning the loss of my 41, 42-year-old son, and I know he's been gone, I think she said a year. It could have been 2. And she says, this means the world to me. She says, not only did you talk to me, because most people don't want to talk to somebody they don't know. God knew this lady needed one of these silly things that nobody even took the time to look at and go, oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, you got lanyards. Oh, you got this. You got a couple angels. And it changed. It was a powerful kick in the pants and a reminder that sometimes our perspective is not his perspective, or it's not, you know, it may not go as we planned or we hope, but God knows. God knew that Thursday morning before I left, I needed to finish these because somebody needed to be blessed with one before I even left the house. Changed my perspective and gave me a good reminder. No, well, Joe, I was so fried last night. I didn't even really remember what I watched, and I need to go back and rewatch it and pick out a favorite, because you make so many things that I could say are my favorite, and so I have to go back. My bad. But yesterday was a long day because I put together those 2 fabric postcards for the first time, which made my sister very happy, because she was able to take it to her daughter. And another family friend that's like chosen family, she goes, hey, how does she get a card and I don't get a card? I want a card. And I said, well, I have one more in the car. I said, these are like the first ones. I want a card. So I brought the second one in, and she was a happy camper. And we got home. It's a really interesting mix of family dynamics, and I was just, you know, I was going to sit there and work on some of this, and then I didn't. Pretty. So that's on my priority list. After I do this live, I'm going to go back and pick a favorite for you, Joe. It's so good to see everybody this morning. Thank you, Kelly. Well, you know, they did it. I got it's a free pattern from Shabby Fabrics, and it shows you how to do the 4-patch, and it shows you how to do this. And they did it by little tiny squares. I'll tell you a secret. I do a strip. I just take a scrap strip and sew the 2 strips together, and then I cut them, and then I sewed them together in the 4-patch, and I found this really nice fabric 2 or 3 years ago. When I started making these a couple years ago, I realized I had a fabric from Hobby Lobby that I could fussy cut. Just these different, instead of putting the same fabric or matching fabric, I could do them like this. So I've just fussy cut a big stack of these 2.5 inches and put them together. So they look, and this is a two charm squares, and instead of cutting it in 4ths, I sew around the edge and cut it, and then sew it, and I end up with the two hourglass pieces and just sew it together. So try and work a little harder, not smarter. Not quite sure about this design, but at the time so each 2 pieces of charm square makes 4, and each strip makes however many for the strip length that you cut out. Morning, Giovanna. How are you this morning? Pretty good. The oldest grandson threw an atomic bomb into the whole gathering with an announcement that his wife decided to take she's graduating from residency, And the whole time it was like they were either going to stay 4.5 hours away in South Carolina or come back towards home. They're going 12, 13 hours away to Illinois. It's a very good situation for them. I'm very excited. But with their grandmother's neurological condition, it just, to throw a surprise on her like that. And then they felt bad, and it was like, listen, you got to recognize that it's not personal. You just threw something big that she has to adjust to, that you're moving further and not closer, and that she feels the clock. So that was interesting. And of course the father of the boys, the ex-husband with his wife, came, and that's always interesting because I tell you what, he carries some big, in fact, after about 20 minutes of all his dark negativity, I had to go outside. But I got some really good pictures of the clouds and the sunset. So it was good. It was a good day. It just was long. It was long. Food was good. Wow, that is a long day, Joe, to be there till 9. Yeah, Giovanna, that's the thing that's, I think, cool about sewing and quilting and crafting is if you learn something from one thing, you can kind of translate it sometimes over to make another project easier. And when I did the quilted prayer hearts, instead of doing it, I knew I needed about at least 30. I ended up making way more than that. I found some 6-inch strips, and I didn't know that they were by width of fabric, and I cut them in half, and I sewed them to adding a 5th strip, and then I cut them, and then I did the same thing, and got it 12 to 13 strips out of each. And so I translated that to this project, so it makes it a lot faster and easier and less fiddly. Came at 10 a.m. Oh my gosh, that is really a long day, Joe. I have had some of those family days. Oh no, you put the local football game on. Did they win? Oh my goodness, I'm sure that made a ruckus in the house. I can show you real quick. We've kind of made a mess. I finally organized things. But these, not this Easter, but last Easter, I made a bunch of these. And they have a pocket on the back. And then when you get done, this one just needs to be tucked in and top stitched. And then you put a little floss through here, and I have some crosses that are olive wood from Jerusalem that are handmade in Bethlehem. And you can tuck a little note in here, or a prayer list, or a gift card, or anything like that. So you would think I spent a lot of time with these fiddly 1-inch blocks. Now this is another free pattern by Shabby Fabrics. I found a way where I didn't have to pull. I would have given up. But like I have a whole stack in here that just need top stitching. But I did I've already done like 45 or something like that. and these were leftovers because I just kind of went cray-cray. So these need to be turned out and top stitched. And then these need backing, but you see, by using the 6-inch strips, each one of the fronts became unique. What are you doing back there? Go in the scrap bin. Yeah, I ended up with like 70 squares. Because it multiplied on me. And then the backs, oh, look at that. There's 4 more that just need to be turned out and top stitched. I should do that. They're all quilted. Stitch in the ditch. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I got 7. Yeah. So anyway, the backs, I just picked out 5 or 6 solids that looked nice and 5 or 6 pockets that were by the same designer as the front to coordinate, and then just played mix match. So this is in my work in progress, so I can get a few more done. They are pretty popular. Giovanna, that sounds like a good idea. Like I said, I had enough of it, and so I went outside for I was just gonna take a 5 or 10 minute breather. I think it disappeared for about 20 minutes because on one side the sky was all dark gray, and on the front side the clouds were all broken up and you could see this blue sky, and the sun was getting ready to set. And so that was pretty cool. I can Kelly, you need to be alone with your kitchen. Yeah, I don't mind people in the kitchen because I'm used to it. I grew up with it, people coming in and out and stuff like that. But don't get under my feet. I already have enough under my feet, under my foot. Thank you, Nancy. I'm an extrovert, Kelly, and I love being around people. But as I've gotten older, sometimes a little goes a long way. Maybe it's that I've had a little less tolerance for some of the stupid. So, never fear, you're not alone. Yes, I did, and that's what I'm working on. These are all ready to be top stitched. I have 2 or 3 that have their heads in them that need ribbon. I'm turning these ones right side out because, as I explained, I want a tops. I figured I'd just do the front top stitching, metallic gold for the gold wings, and metallic silver for the silver wings around it, and then it's just putting them together. And I got all these sewn, and then I have just a handful more over there to do. So I thought while I was turning them out, since I hadn't been on, as a bad girl, I haven't been on for a week, and I didn't even put up a Thanksgiving. There's a little foo-for-ah about my birthday in December, but I think it's settled a little bit. You know, I don't need a big party for the big O, but anyway, we will make an adventure out of it, and there will be stories to tell. I'm just gonna go have fun. 17 degrees? Oh my goodness. Wow, Giovanna, you guys are spread out. I thought we were spread out. Um, just scattered across the states, but at least nobody's in another country. Not that I really have a... Okay, I'll just say you guys now have some issues with my blood siblings. I try really hard. I think in their own way they love me, but I don't really think they know how. What I want to see, and so I'm going to skip over, is some of these pet ones I did. As a child, I never had a big birthday party. I was 2.5 weeks late, 2 days before Christmas. So it wasn't really special. And a lot of times it was, oh, go pick a Christmas present out from under the Christmas tree. And so I kind of felt gypped because there were bigger, when you have a middle of the year or even September, you kind of really get a separation. And you kind of understand, because when parents have 4 kids until I was 10, and then it became 5, and you're planning for Christmas, but you would think that they would have months to just tuck things away for both, instead of getting to the month of December and going, oh, I'm overwhelmed. And Deb, my chosen sister, has restored some of the special to my birthday, but we usually just have a quiet one because of the time of year. Working on finish things up. Giovanna, that would probably be so much fun for you to be able to just go and see different places and see family. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot, Giovanna. Mom had 4. My mom had 4. I was the youngest for 10 years. And then it was like, oops, you're pregnant. And they didn't plan on having another one. He was born 2 weeks before the oldest graduated from high school. So there's 5 of us. And in March of 2020, Mom was really excited because she wanted to have her 90th birthday in 2 years and have all of us gather. And she says, do you know that if I get everybody together, the kids, the spouses, the grands and the great-grands who are 45, and now I think it's 47 or 48 because a couple of the grands have popped out, a couple more babies. Said, not too shabby, considering that my brother, my middle brother, didn't ever want kids, and it took him, I think, 12 years to marry the girl he was with. They finally got engaged and broke up, and then they finally married in 2004. So he never had kids, and I couldn't have kids because of the meds my mom took. She passed, by the way, on the 13th of July, 2020. So it was like one of those rapid things where she went from 80% independent and doing good to like 6 weeks later she was gone. And it was the afternoon before her 88th birthday. Wasn't a total surprise. It's faster than I thought. So that gathering never happened. Probably a good thing because it would be really cray-cray. So, Let's see how this. I'm sorry, Kelly. It's really hard when a cornerstone person in the family um, passes or something happens to them, um, because then it, like you said, it kind of just starts dissolving. So, you ready for the pet one? Now, I should have done this a little different, but I'm not going to change it. So this will be for pets, either because you want to celebrate your pet or as a memorial. Now, if you guess, the one thing that I should have done different was to try and sort out how to sew my strip together with the trees going like this. But I didn't, and so I do have a gold one here, but I think I'm going to be partial to this silver. And Kelly, 5 years old, that's a really hard time to lose your father. I can't imagine. I mean, I find it harder for me to imagine because my father basically raised me when Mom, said for the umpteenth time that she gave up on me. And I lost him on the 1st of February 2003 due to complications of Alzheimer's. And I still miss him. So I can't, it'd be hard to imagine. If you have a good relationship. Now, I'm going to caveat here because I know not everybody has good relationships. They are wow. So, well, God has a special place in his heart for the orphans and the widows and the disabled and the crippled, and we may not always see what he saves us from or what he is able to intervene on, because people actually act, whether knowingly or unknowingly, on his nudges. But God fathers the fatherless, and I know that to be true. I think fatherless is a generic, and whether I think that's kind of generic because he mothers the motherless, because if we're made in his image, then in some strange way he has a perfect mother's heart, just like he has a perfect father's heart. But then again, gender's an earth thing. So, at least according to the Bible, but there's a lot of things that we won't know, that I won't know. I'm still learning. So we'll get the gold one. But yes, fur babies are very important in my life. They've been there through some of the hardest times. The hardest thing is having to have let go of some of them. But then God brings in, at the perfect timing, the perfect one that will be unique on their own, but will be able to receive all that love. Yeah. Okay, so this is the gold one. Now all of these will be ironed and futzed out before I top stitch them. So this is the gold one, and this is the silver one. I think I like the silver one a little better, but at the same time, I think the gold one is kind of nice too. So I appreciate you guys um, hanging out with me for a little while this morning while I work on turning this stack of about 21 of these right side out. Thank you very much, Nan and Nancy. I could have gone ahead and just made 2 different kinds or 3 different kinds. But there's something to variety, and so many people have they like red or they like green, or like the lady that my good friend at Chick-fil-A, she said just pick one, and then she came back and said, can you make a purple one? So that sent me on an adventure because for the first, and the good thing was about 3 days before, for the first time I'd seen some really pretty purple Christmas fabric, and I went and got it, and subsequently I found a second purple. I think it's in the pile of the last 10 to top stitch, and I thought, well, I could make, 3 or 4 of a bunch of different kinds, and then people could pick. And I wanted to make a pet one. I wish it was generic so that it could fit for cats too. But all of the pet fabric that I found that was Christmas, kind of some dissembled like this, paws or bones, it has a black background. And I really didn't want to do it's cute. I have some really nice red and green Christmas paws with snowflakes and stuff, but it's a black background, and I'm like, I really don't want to do the angels with black cassocks. So well, one day about 3 weeks ago, I was on my way home from a doctor's appointment, and I was tired, and I thought, I'm going straight home. I'm not stopping at Joann's. And then I thought, oh, while I was in the doctor's office, they sent me a $10 off. Buy $10, get $10 off coupon, I'll pop in. Well, it turned out that the little tiny fine print that didn't open up because there was a problem was online, but I did have a $5 coupon. So I said hello to my peeps there and was looking, and lo and behold, I saw this bolt on the shelf. And I said something to my friend. I said, when did you get this in? She said, I just put it out an hour ago. I said, an hour ago? I said, it feels like it's half gone. She says, I wouldn't be surprised. And she says, I don't know that we'll get another one. Well, they haven't. And it was 50% off. So by stopping unexpectedly, I was able to find this, and I really like it because it has all the. I just wish I would have figured out how to cut the block so that the trees sat like, when you do the skirt, the robe, the trees would have been facing this way. But I'm not going to redo them. There's 3 or 4 done there. Oh, I bet it. I'd love to go to Italy. Germany, France, Switzerland, Austria. Did a stop in Belgium. Been all over Germany. Didn't make it to England. Didn't make it to Italy, but I would love to go to Italy. Not sure at my age that's my age and condition. That's a reality, but I spent 4.5 months. I lived in southern Germany. on the, right at the foothills of the Black Forest. Not the foothills, but you know, just where the Black Forest. And I did a 3-month school, which was 2 years worth of intensive graphic training, and then did another month and a half of follow-up before coming home right before Thanksgiving. But that was 97? No, it was 96. I'm pretty sure it was 96. And one of the ladies in my first school, she was German, and she had this little itty-bitty economy car. And she would stuff 4 of us in there and on Saturday. And most of the shops and places in Germany on Saturday are only open till like noon or 1. And then that's it. They actually have weekends. But we went to Bavaria and saw the Neuschwanstein Castle. We went to Landstuhl. I got to see where I was born, which is not very far from Ramstein Air Force Base. Basically they have Ramstein where they do bring all the soldiers in, and it's a major medical hub for the military in Europe. But then not too far from it is the Landstuhl Hospital, which does maternity and basically for those stationed there. So yeah, I mean, it was quite an adventure, and the only housing they could find for us for the school, I think there was 9 or 10 of us from all over the world, was at a church. And you walk down the street and you go down this way big thing of steps. Was a church that had one of the biggest conference centers, not just in that area of Germany, but the bordering states. And they gave us a floor on one of their dorms above their dining room, made a deal. And I got to meet there was this group of Russian ladies that came in with their male elder chaperone for 9 days, and boy, we had some fun having tea in the evening, finding about their culture. But one of the group of 4 of us was a Ukrainian that was, I think he was 6'5", tall, skinny fella. He get in that front of that car, and he go, "I'm ready to go." And the 2 of us were packed in the back. I think we should all just go visit Giovanna and have like a big kind of quilty food retreat. Thank you, Kelly. No, Kelly, I didn't want like dogs or cat fabric with like cat faces, or I wanted something that represented them: paws, hearts, bones for dogs, fish bones. Haven't found, sometimes you can kind of just get like paws and it can go for cat or dog. Haven't really found anything that this happened to have bones, so it's for dogs. But yeah, I haven't seen it again, and you can't order it. At least my app says it's out of stock. So one bolt, it went in an hour or so. So it just depends. 8-week-old kitten. A red gold Maine Coon. Oh my goodness, I bet it's absolutely gorgeous, but they can be really big cats. Hang on a minute. the sun's just kind of coming out. It started drizzling last night on the way home, so it's kind of overcast today. And this week it has decided that we are going to skip fall and we're going to go back to winter. So we're going to have frost and things. Hi Susan, how you doing? I was thinking about you. I was on Facebook to check something this morning, and I thought, I hope Susan had a good Thanksgiving. I forgot. Most of these I trimmed my corners and got the edges trimmed, got my corners trimmed good. Now here's a little tip. Doing bowl koozies or anything that needs to be turned, if you clip and you do a preliminary iron of where you're going to do your closure like that, you tend to have less, and you go up, you go straight up and you back stitch on both sides, you tend to have less tearing at the opening when you're stuffing something through. And it tends to turn easier. I don't know if it's the smoother edge or what. And then it can just be adjusted when you get it flipped out. You know, flip right side out. Well, I'm glad that you figured that tip out, Giovanna, because let me tell you what, I wish somebody had given me that tip a long time ago, instead of just kind of seeing it somewhere in one of the videos and going, oh, I wonder if I did that with this. I guess that's why I haven't done a tutorial on these, because there was a couple things I wanted to figure out how to do a little bit better, so I could give you, I don't know everything, and my methods aren't always right for everybody, but if I could give you tips like that people have left out that I wish I knew sooner, I prefer to do that. Like when you put your angel together, and see, this will be a decision. Do I go with the green for the front with the red batik, or this green? Anyway, you top stitch here and you put your head in, but what they want you to do is they want you to top stitch all the way around your square. Then they want you to fold it in half, and they want you to top stitch just this part, a section here. You have to read you have to do a section here to put these two ends together, and then all that's left is the stuffing a head in there and folding and doing a little hand stitching. Well, I don't know how they did it at Shabby Fabrics, where they followed the top stitching to stitch over, because every time I did it on the back, it looked like crap, because I couldn't, it looked like drunk tire tracks, or you doing donuts or something. So I had to think about it, and I've come up with a couple different ways that work for me to do it, so that it doesn't look, it looks nicer on the back. And maybe they just ignore the fact that you can't match up the pre-top stitching on the back like you can the front. And nobody will look at it. Well, I look at it. And it's not going to be perfect, but I don't like things to look like so. Probably not. Probably not. Oh wow, You've traveled quite a bit. Oh, Nancy was born in Germany, but her dad wasn't military. My dad was Air Force, 20 years. I think one of the only reasons why he retired at 20 years was because he was an accountant, and several years in, he realized he didn't like accounting, so he wanted out, and they said, nope, you do your job too well. So by the time he retired, I told me several times growing up that he was so ready to get out because he hated accounting, and if he never did any accounting again, he'd be happy. But here's the thing. We weren't supposed to go to Maryland. That wasn't on the agenda. That wasn't on the, billet. Dad got an emergency transfer for my medical care to Maryland. And he was figuring out what he was going to do 4 years before he retired. Oh, I was born Episcopal. I've always wanted to be in the, I think the ministry would suit me. And so he went to the Episcopal Cathedral in Baltimore for 4 years at night doing his seminary, and was ordained right about the time he retired when I was 5. And got his first church when I was 6. So that's, to this project, you could, now I do add stabilizer to this, and when Shabby Fabrics does the tutorial, they don't necessarily, but I put a small piece of stabilizer behind the 4 patch or the hourglass, because then the cross doesn't stick in the seams, reinforces the seams, and the cross moves around easier. Because I did it without, and then I put it's called thermoplane. It's a little fleece. It makes it a little soft, but it gives it a little body. These probably won't need it. I need to get a drink here. Let me get my other bag. It probably does not need stabilizer once you get it to the next step, which saves quite a bit when you're doing several. All of these patterns, the quilted pocket, the patchwork quilted pocket, prayer hearts, the little pocket prayer hearts with the cross in it, this project, they're all by this lady named Minnis. J. Minnis. And she has the cutest little basket pattern that I saw, and you can even get a template to make it. And as soon as I get the money, I will order that. I'll see if I can get a picture to show up here in a minute. But it's a little basket you can like hang on a tree, or you can just, and it has a little pocket inside. Doesn't look hard to make. You can set it on the table, put a gift card and a little gift in it. But they're just the cutest little things, easy to make. Let's see here. Okay, so here's one. So from this point, and I'll do this in the tutorial, but you see you end up folding up the wings, and I just clipped it for the alignment. You put the head in, and I use a little wooden head, and you put a rubber band around it just to stabilize it. You'll remove that, and then you put the wings at a certain point kind of by the head, and you put a rubber band just to hold it together, and then you will wrap a ribbon around where this is. And when you get the ribbon wrapped around to hold it, that holds it together. And then you fluff out the wings and you tack it, and you fluff out this wing and put a couple stitches to tack it. And I took the tip from the lady on Shabby Fabrics, and I tacked the ribbon with just a couple hand stitches to the back of the head where you can't see it, so that it doesn't hang like this. It hangs more like this. And this would be considered the front, but you see, with the two layers together, it has good body and stability. And then you have a pocket a pretty good sized pocket. You can put a gift card or money or a palm or any number of things. And this will spread out once I pop this rubber band, once I get the ribbon on. There was one I was working on at my hand appointment, and I must have thrown it in the bag. Got a couple in here I forgot about. I had it all ready to put the ribbon on. So it must be in the bag. I had this because I got the ribbon, the bow and the cross sewn to the ribbon, and was ready to tie it around the neck and do the finishing when they called me on Wednesday. Oh, got 3 more done here, ready to go. They was hiding. I love this. I like it with the silver better. And depending, they say it's purple, but in certain light, it does look blue. And when you look it up, the actual name, I think, says blue. So these go into stack. That's 3 I didn't count on. And like I said, Shabby Fabrics has a good tutorial on these. And the one tip the lady gave was to tack the ribbon to the back of the head. And then I would add about the thing about the top stitching. So I hadn't thought of that, Giovanna. That may be oh, I'm sorry. If I went over there, I don't know why this is. Maybe I turned this down. Oh, we got this turned down. That should be better. Sorry about that. Thank you, Giovanna. That could be, but I'm thinking that since it's, since it's this part, that I might just sew from here to here and sew from here to here, and then when you, okay, it's only this part that doesn't need top stitching, so I may sew from here over and here over, get this top edge tucked under good, and then when I flip it, because it's held together here, do this last bit. The other way that I found that works does not take long, and that's just popping the top stitching out. So it looks good, in my opinion, because see, when you put the extra stitching here to hold the fold together, you can get the front lined up pretty good, but the back looked to me to be horrible, because you had, because there's no way to line up. So this one, I just took the stitching out here and here. Took me 2 minutes, 3 minutes to take it out on both sides. put it together and sew it. So I'm going to try the other thought of, because you really want to get this sewn in good, but I'm going to try the other, my other brainchild, which would be to sew boop instead of all the way around. And I don't know if one is faster than the other. I don't know if there's a way I haven't figured out that would be better. Oops, isn't so here. Yeah, yeah. Well, they sold kits, and they sold this beautiful STOF fabric. That's the brand. It was absolutely gorgeous, and you got red, and you got green, and you got enough to do 12 angels, I think. 12 angels, I think. And but it came with everything. It came with a little wooden a little metal cross, the heads, the rubber bands, everything. But it was pricey, and you had to buy the thing. And I thought, well, I've got scraps and I've got pieces in my stash, because all I have to do is cut a strip. And so, like, the gold and the silver wing, they have been remnants. Sorry, we have to take a puppy break. Hi, yo, Patty. Oh, that might be nice. Wonder how that would look with the rest of it being straight stitch, but it might look good because it's kind of, the rest is kind of tucked. Well, that's true. They said I did make a dog bone pillow, Joe, and it got pinched. It got pinched by my nephew. And I know that see, that's the thing. I know if I make something, like I made 2 of those postcards, and I was going to show y'all one of them, because only one was needed. Got up for some reason. Oh, only one was needed for yesterday, and then somebody claimed it. They were like, oh, I didn't get a card, and you made it? Because Deb was bragging, which made me feel good, and it helped make her day better. And poof, it was gone. And I'm like, well, these are like, I will get better. Alright, hold still. Let me have some of the chair. But see, this is the pattern. It's Christmas pocket angels. And on the back, which they show you on Shabby Fabrics, it says 1 charm square pack. Now, 1 charm square pack makes 12 angels. Now, this was let's see, this was 2023's fabric that they used. 2020. Anyway, they used STOF fabric for the last 2 years. So they have a different cover, same thing. But they go here and say 12 cotton balls, 1-inch wooden beads, 1-inch styrofoam balls, or suckers for heads. Now, I'm not sure what she means by suckers for heads. I haven't figured that out, and it's probably something simple. And I guess you could use cotton balls because they'd be soft, or a little bit of polyfill. I wouldn't want to use styrofoam, because every time it, if you put that in, say, a box of keepsake ornaments, because you don't want to hang it up all year round, that styrofoam can get squishticated. So I'm still not sure what suckers are. But I have a lot of 1-inch beads because of, what did I use them for? Oh, my yo-yo angels. I use them for yo-yo angels. So Um, but Yo-Yo Patty, good morning. Thank you for popping in. Um, I'll have to think about that. That might work. Um, okay, so it's a type, that's what I was wondering, if it was just a type of ball from like another country or, because I know that they're different terminologies, but she comes out with some good patterns, and like the pattern that shows you to do these is free. The pattern that shows you how to do the patchwork hearts, it's by her, it's free. um it's got to be some kind of ball because it's got to form the head, and so it has to be, and it could be plastic, like I don't know. But I was gonna look here real quick and see if I can. I took a bunch of pictures last night. Too many pictures. I was gonna look real quick here and see. Oh, now check out. Can you kind of see that little tiny basket? That's the tutorial that Shabby Fabrics just put out about a week and a half ago. And it has a little pocket in the basket. So you can stick your gift card and then you can put something else. And they're not very big. And they did show examples from, like, now this one might not show up as well because it's white. But this one has like a robin for spring. This one's quilted, that one isn't. But they actually made a template that helps you take your scraps or whatever you want to use for it and cut the shape. And it does not look hard to make. And like you could make them for any season. Come back here to chat. So the pattern and the template for that one are on my wish list. Yeah, that's true too. Oh, lower the screen brightness. Let me try that. Thank you very much. See, I'm figuring this. Oops, I'm trying to figure this out. See if I go there and I do that. Oh, look, you can. There's my postcard with the bandana scarf. That's my first fabric postcard. Thank you. That is like amazing. And I might have to go a little darker. Come on. And that one there has polka dots. Like confetti colored polka dots. But at least you could see it better. So let me go back and find the basket. Oh, let's stop and draw over banana nut bread. Alright, let me see. Now that I've turned it down. Boy, see, I learned something. See the little basket? And it's not, I think, I don't know if they used a charm square or close to it. It's just small. And they're just adorable. And they took a piece of I called them pipe cleaner. Now they call them Chanel stems. And put fabric over it. But they have a template. And if you want to put a design in the middle, it helps you center that design. But like this was And see, this one's going to be harder because it's white. But see how they did this one for like spring? So they had some with Easter. They had some, 4th of July, some Halloween. They were focusing on Christmas. And like this one they quilted. And inside this basket is a pocket that's big enough to tuck a gift card or a little cash. But it it didn't take them long to put it together, especially with the template. And this design, they used this fabric for something else. They had fussy cut this fabric for something else. And so they thought, what can we use this for? Oh, we'll use it for the baskets. And I just think it's adorable. So, but thank you very much because that's very helpful. There, now you can kind of see this guy. There he is. See? And I used a scrap of white on white snowflake fabric for the snowman. And I like the, even though it's white on, kind of blends in a little, I like the confetti scarf. But I had blue and I had red bandana, so I just did one red. And I will do more. And the faces will be more professional. And I have more ideas to come on that front. But thank you very much for that tip of turning the screen brightness down. Now if I can figure out how to get my thumbnail for my YouTube live video to be what I pick out and not to come up and go, oh, can't find it. I will work on that today and see if I can get a tutorial out for you, Giovanna. It's a good day to do that. And Joe, I need to make a couple more bone pillows because I made a bone pillow and it got swipicated. They are still pipe cleaners, Nancy. Exactly. But they kept going, get these Chanel things. And I'm like, what? Chanel? And they pulled it out and I said, dang, that's a pipe cleaner. Oh, okay, yeah, I'll ask Mona because it asked me to pick out pictures, and so I pick out a picture and I have it downloaded, and then it shows up and it says can't open that or can't, and I've tried making sure those are in the folder, and then I've actually gone out and closed down the iPad and then turned it back on. And that's why you got a picture of one of these, two of these folded in half. Because the picture I wanted to put up of the postcards to show you that project, it wouldn't let me this morning. So, thank you. I will ask Mona because, I'm learning all this. I'm glad that I got thrown in the, deep end after thinking about it. And I got, you guys know I got the butterfly yo-yos. Joe, did you see that? I got the butterfly yo-yo templates. They are very, very cool. And the large is definitely large. This is for small butterfly yo-yos. And this is for the large. So yes, a tutorial's coming for that because Debbie is asking for that. You're too lazy. I don't know about that, Giovanni. It's a lot. People don't realize it. What YouTube creators, what they contend with and what they the issues they run up against and the time. I mean, that box opening, I did it twice, and then I had it taped from my Orpheus calendar. Thank you, Joe. Well, anyway, and I realized that I hadn't covered up the little scan thing for the free digital goodies, and I thought, so I had to redo the whole thing. I had to retake the whole, I had to put it back in the box and kind of try and do the bloop and because I didn't realize when I opened it that the little scan code for the digital goodies that came with my gifted calendar, thread calendar, was hanging out. So I had to redo it. They are cool. Thank you, Nina Nancy. Well, you know, if I have to learn something the hard way or I pick up something and it's helped me, I like to pass it along. I mean, I don't think everybody should have to, like, you know, do the 412. Wow. They are. And I mean, that's why I really haven't gotten a lot of, I have a list of tutorials to do. I'm making the tutorials not, as long as I don't have like the dogs barking or the iPad fall off the stand and things like that. They're not too difficult for me to plotter through. It has just been the time because I had last Thursday to prepare for. Then I had the other thing that I had to finish, which I was going to bail on, but somebody had pushed me in a very loving and good way. And then I had these, and it was like, and then I had doctor's appointments, and then because of the holidays, Deb's, I call it Pima. We're just going to call it Pima. She has Lewy body dementia and anxiety disorder. She developed the anxiety disorder after my mom passed, and we ended up in the damdemic because they almost just like, and it's been 3 years. It's been 3 years. Yeah, 3 years since she got her LBD diagnosis, and it does have some behavioral issues. And anyway, I call it Pima. The reason why I call it Pima is I get tired of saying it, and it means pain in my ass. Oh, pain in my arse. Excuse me, YouTube. Because whoever says it, it's true. Because it's a pain in her arse, it's a pain in mine, it's a pain in the doctor's arse, it's a pain in her family's arse. But basically, her only child has said, you better not go anywhere, Joe, right in front of her, you better not go anywhere, because I ain't taking care of her, she's going straight to a nursing home. And that's not the way you treat somebody. And I know she's chosen family, but she's been there for me. So as long as I'm able, but it makes life really interesting some days. So, oh, turn the light back on. So here we go, we got this. And part of my problem with these that slowed me down is getting my coordinating back. Okay, it's the pocket. And I'm using a lot of remnants. I'm going through and using blenders and things that I have bits and bobs of in my stash. But sometimes I get stumped on what would look nice, because you will get a peek of it. And you really don't want, like, now, I know the shabby fabrics and my understanding and what I remember from the tutorial, what they said, they use this on the inside. And to me, that's a waste of really, really, really pretty. You want a blend. To me, you want a nice blender, because you're just going to get peaks with it, but you want it to complement. And I've got two over there that do not have backs for the pocket because I'm still stumped. I mean, you wouldn't think with my stash and my remnants and things that, but have yet to find them a good, and then sometimes you do things that are stupid. Like, I had enough of this to finish these, these purple blocks, and I needed 2 pieces, and I measured it 3 times and looked at it and stared at it, and I cut it 1.5 inches too narrow, and it was all I had. And I thought, I'm using up a scrap, and it's perfect, and I cut it 1.5 inches too narrow. So I had to go back to the drawing board. I like your videos, Giovanna. I really do, and I'm proud of Joe. I mean, Joe has done 412 videos, and she got to something like 400 videos, whether or not they were long or short, and dived in and did her first live, and woot woot. I mean, and she's done some lives, and I know she keeps apologizing if they're boring, and I wish she would stop it. I'm about ready to give her a good gib slap on that, because they're not boring. They're just really cool to see what she's doing. It's really cool, Joe, to see your passion and your mad skills at work, and the tips that you give in your thinking process, whether or not you realize it or not. And like, I saw your one that you were asking me which project was my favorite, and I need to go back and double check which was my favorite, because they're kind of hard to pick because you make several cool things. But I saw it like out of the corner of my eye, Joe's live, and something happened, and then it was gone, and I'm like, how'd I miss that? Just distraction with getting ready for the holiday or doctor or something. But I did finish my hand treatments. They have helped. We will know the cumulative effects in about 2.5 weeks, because they say it takes about 3 weeks for your body to totally respond and tell you how nice it's going to like it. And since they were such a low dose, minimally invasive, and not too much of a hassle to get done, if I need it again in a year or 2 years or whatever, I can go back. And they gave me my little fun hand molds, and they said, hold on to these, so hopefully you won't, but if you need them, you can bring them back. Thinking about sticking them up on the back of my toolbox, so people go, what are those? That's odd. You do, Joe. I mean, you were there in the winter when I got really, really kicked hard by someone who I was doing a favor for, really, and I had charged her half price. Actually, it was less than half price for what turned out to be a way bigger project than it should have been, because it was for her church, and because she's my MA, and she went after me, because she thought I charged too much, because she wanted something for nothing, and dragged her feet for like 3 weeks to pay me the agreed amount. And finally, when I sent a invoice and said, okay, I've talked to several experts and this is what it should cost you, why don't you go ahead and pay that? She sent the money, but she sent this email that was like that long and told me how I do inferior work and my work sucks, and a bunch of things like that. And last January it really got to me, and I got kind of stuck for a little while. I won't do anything like that again. But your videos and your messages, your responses to my responses, Joe, really helped. And you need to know that, because I don't think we often know the impact that we have. Yay, Nana and Nancy, you'll find some cool things on Joe's. Yeah, Joe's really cool. I agree, Giovanna, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot or embarrass you, Joe, but don't, you don't have anything to apologize. I know insecurity as a creator, whatever you create, is there, and perfectionism is there. But you got mad skills, and you have something unique that you offer people. And let me tell you what, if they think it's boring, they go find somebody else. But there's a lot of people in your world that don't think you're boring, because we're there and we're watching and we're going, yeah, yeah. No, it's not. And this situation was kind of sticky anyway, but she needed it for church, and I did my best, and I got burnt. But what she said, I could tell you in my head wasn't true, and I could tell you in my head was just her crap. But here, it hit hard with some other things that were going on last winter, and I was ready just to put the dust cover on my sewing machine for a while, but part of what helped me, a good part of what helped me get through that, was you, Joe. Your videos, your little comments, how you doing, your encouragement, here, try this, So I don't think you have any idea of just who you are, how cool it is, and what the impact you have is. I mean, Deb was asking me if I would make some bigger gnomes, and I said, yeah, my friend Joe taught me how, and Henry needs a girlfriend. I said, so when things calm down after Christmas, I'm going to go to Joe's video and make Henry. And she goes, who's Henry? I said, I said, you probably forgot. I said, I want Henry in one of her giveaways. And I said, I was so excited, and I said, and my dad's middle name was Henry. So Henry's up on the shelf, and I see him every day, and I say a prayer for Joe, and he brightens my life, and but he needs a girlfriend. So since I didn't win a girlfriend for him in your last giveaway, because we had a blooper in communication, which was my fault, I have to get busy in the winter and make him a girlfriend, because he's like a little bit lonely. He's like, I got all these friends and all these gnome friends up on these shelves, but none of them are my size. That's why when I started making the little wee gnomes, all the tutorials I saw were for men, because you could just trim faux fur, and it was easy to put on. And I'm like, they need girlfriends, or not even just girlfriends. They need sisters. They need aunts. Grandmothers, mothers. They need, they'd be lonely. So it took me 2-3 weeks to come up with how to make the braids for them. This is the other purple I found. And so I think that's 2 purples. And I didn't make a lot of each one. I just took scrappy stuff I had. Oh yeah, it's I think, there it is. Yeah, the other 2 of these purple ones are in the pile to do this part. Yes, yes, Giovanna. Um, okay, so here it was. Some churches have what's called modesty cloths. And when she brought it in, she was shocked that I knew what it was. And they're just basically a dark cloth that's hemmed up to look nice. So in Pentecostals or apostolic whoop whoop churches, when somebody goes down on the floor, especially a woman, they can just take that nice little modesty cloth and lay it over them so everything is modest. And she had asked me if I could make 10 new ones. And I told her that I would do my best, and she had to kind of route. And I said, I don't know that I can get them done in your time schedule, but I'll do the best. And then she shortened that time schedule by like 2.5 weeks. And I was like, I can't get them in that time. And I underestimated. I eyeballed the sample she showed me and gave me. And I did not realize that it was 42 inches by 42 inches. 42 by 42 inches. And that there was 10 of these. And it took 15 yards of fabric to make 10 with just a little bit of leftover scrap. And I didn't just fold over the edges and go whoop, and there you go. I folded and ironed and folded so that it would not have a raw edge, and I mitered the corners of all 40 mitered corners. And so I started out and I got the fabric, and it was a lot because I bought 108 because you get almost 3 yards for one, but it equaled 15 yards. And I rough cut them. I measured and I thought, holy cow, these things are 10 inches bigger than I guesstimated. But I rough cut them so I could wash them good. Got them all nice and washed. Then I had to precision cut them, iron them. Now, I don't have a big ironing setup. Iron each one, and then do the hem. And she was like, oh. She goes, And I'm not going to tell you because she just laughed me out of the room and told me I should have never done it for it. But she did pay for the fabric, which I found for a very good deal. And I did ask her if she wanted more expensive Kona fabric. I found fabric that was not see-through when you put it up against that, and I got it for her for $35 for 15 yards. Now, if she went with Kona, it would have been $125 to $150. And I took the fabric in before I cut it and touched it and washed it and said, is this good enough? And one of her complaints was it was not good enough fabric. And when I told her, well, we had this discussion, I brought it in to show you, and you said, oh, I saw it, it was good, don't worry about it. I said, you could have paid another $25 plus what you already paid for this and gotten a Kona or a thicker solid. But you said this was fine, but yeah. So there was a lot of, and I learned a lot because I did not realize either. I didn't have a measuring tape, and I should have said, let me take this, measure it, see what it will take, and give you an estimate. I guesstimated, and yeah, I kind of bid on that one. And in the end, did I iron them before I gave them to her after I hemmed them? Heck no, because I'd already gotten a mouthful about how she still wanted them, but she was going to throw them in the corner and have somebody else redo them. So I put them in the dryer with dryer balls and got the wrinkles and any floating dog hair, and they had been washed, so they were nice and clean, and they had lavender a little bit of essential oil from lavender, and she told me that I had put some chemical or something on it because she had to wash them 3 times and take them to the dry cleaners twice. And I come home with the scraps and I went, and I couldn't smell anything but a faint scent of lavender. And I did it like 3 times, and I thought, well, I guess maybe there's a hint of a chemical odor from making the fabric, but this has all been washed. It's been dried twice with essential oils, and I mean, I had to, dig into a big piece of the scrap, and so basically, I ended up putting all the scraps that were left because she told me to keep the scraps. I put them all in a bag and I tied them up. And the next time I went in, she's not talking to me again. But when I went in, I told the lady checking me in, I said, hand this over there to her. I said, that way she can't say I stole anything from her. This is every scrap I have, right down to the thinnest one I could find off the floor. I said, there's a handful missing that are shavings because I said I didn't think I needed them. But I said that you got 99% of it. But I mean, I went on the floor and I scooped up all the corners I cut off everything I trimmed except for a handful. It probably wasn't very right to do, but I was like, you're not going to come back now and tell me that you didn't get all your money, even though you told me to keep the scraps. And there was maybe with the little strips off the top and the sides and that kind of thing, maybe a half or 3/4 of a yard of scraps left out of that 15 yards. But I wasn't have none of it. Well, Giovanna, she told me to get the fabric, and I found the fabric, and I showed her, and I explained the difference between the fabric that I found on sale with an extra coupon that I could get enough for the project for $35, and getting something like a thicker fabric such as Kona. And she did give me the payment for the fabric because I told her I would have to put in the order to get the extra coupon. And then when I picked up the fabric, I happened to have an appointment with that same doctor that day. So I put that big old heavy wad of about 15 yards of fabric in a bag, and I carried it in, and I asked her, I started to pull it out, and she says, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I wanted you to look at this in person, feel it and see if you're happy. I said, because before I touch it, I can take it back, and you can get the more expensive stuff. I already looked at it. It's good. It's great. I have no problem with it. I'm thinking, okay, good. Well, apparently she had some kind of problem. So I knew a lot of what she was saying was bogus. And some of it probably was the fact that after 3.5 weeks of waiting to get paid, and her promising and dragging her feet, probably she was not happy that I sent her a full price bill, which was a lot more. But she had no need. And she was like, well, I'll never do business with you again. I thought you were good at what you did. You did wonderful on the kitchen scarves. And I'm like, fine, I'm not going to do business for you after this. I didn't respond. I just let it go. But I could tell you all the truths in my head. That she was just trying to get something for nothing. And she was being her Jekyll and Hyde side. She always has been able to bully and get her way. And she can't bully me. But anyway. But Joe and Debbie and a couple others helped me get through that where I just kind of got sewing block. It's kind of like writer's block. Because it does. It gets in your head. I mean, you can tell yourself the truth all you want, but you have to process it and let it go. So, thank you, Giovanna. I did. Um, well, I did. The problem was it was so much fabric and it was so heavy, and I did have my 5-foot table, but every time I went to get help so I could rip it or manhandle it, my help bailed. So here I am on one leg trying to manhandle this 15 yards of fabric and just get it cut so I could get it washed. So I ended up doing a, basically, like I said, a rough cut so I could get it in the wash machine. So I could get all the chemicals and whatever was in there out. And then I ironed every one of them, and then I straight cut them. Now, if I'd had help, it would have been a lot easier if I could have ripped them, because it would have been straighter grain, and it would have been trimming. And part of it was she was just throwing a fit, because she wanted me to do that. She wanted to hold me that I said I could do it before Christmas, when I said I would do my best. But I already had some other things ahead of her. It could be the first week in January. And I was on track the first week in January, because then all of a sudden she popped up and said, oh, in 6 days after I got the fabric, she says, we're going on vacation for Christmas for 2.5 weeks. I was like, there was no way I was going to get all that done in 5 days. And I kept the latter part, which was, if I can't, it'll be the first week in January. And when so anyway, it was a big lesson learned, but man, oh man, and one of the lessons is either carry a tape measure in your hip pocket or say, I'm gonna have to measure this sample, and get back to you with an estimate. And it was for church, so, I wanted to give a little break, because you're doing it for church, and I don't know what that's like. See, this fabric, look at this, is this not cool? It's not a true batik. That's a cotton. I don't think it's a true batik. Okay, I know there's a hole in here where I just turned this, but since I've already folded it, sometimes I lose. There's a hole in the bucket, Elijah. There's a hole in the bucket. We'll fix it. Okay, so it is a true batik. Sorry about that. They just put the snowflakes on one side. But it's really cool, because depending on how it's cut, you'll get the green and the darker red, or the light red and the darker red and the green. They did a candy cane, and I was kind of excited about it, because I liked how this came out. It sucked, in my opinion. Somebody liked it, but well, yeah, Giovanna, but one of the problems is, because she's the MA for one of my very important orthodox, if I wasn't careful, she can block appointments and make my life really miserable in sneaky ways, and I already have enough food for all, so it was just better to be done with it. Finish it, be done with it, Oh my gosh, Yeah, I pop off of here. I didn't realize that we're on. Yeah, you know, Giovanna, I have that torn relationship with the established church, not with the body of Christ, not with believers. Um, because I think we've come. Not everyone, not every church, but a lot of churches have become so bound with informational bias and double standards and not living up to the basics. And it's very hard. And church politics, and I've lived it. I've lived it as a kid, and so sometimes I have them back and forth. But I also know that there are good people and that God uses the church, the established church. That's why when people go, I'm not religious, I just go to, and I go, I'm not religious, I just have a relationship with. And there's a big difference. I don't identify my beliefs with an established church, whether or not it's non-denominational, Presbyterian, Episcopalian, or whatever. It's my relationship with him, and it's as real as my relationship with any person on earth, if not realer. So yeah, but I know I have unusual thoughts about things. I am a mutt and a mess. That's all right. God loves me the way I am, and He decided to make me the way I am, which I'm working on really accepting. So. Now see, this one is another one where I like this because it kind of highlights the gold in this, but I really kind of think the silver pops. And I ran out of the silver I really liked. And I may not have one in this stack. I had a different silver, and I ended up finding like 3 remnants. But see, this was the original silver for wings, and I really liked it. But I did find another scrap that would make a couple more. So then I found some remnants of this. And I think it'll be pretty, and nobody will know the difference. It's just, but some of these look better with the gold, in my opinion. But some people are going to go, oh, the gold's perfect because it matches the stars. And that's the back. I just need to figure out the stained glass, the backs for the other stained glass. Oh, well, you guys have helped me get down to having 3 left to turn. And then I have a couple more to sew. And then I can put a couple of these puppies together and I can get a tutorial out. Yay, Giovanna. Well, I figured that since I washed them, because I knew they weren't the best cut of fabric, because of the deal I got on them, I decided to wash them before I made them. And I presumed that if she had any issues, she would wash them. And the last thing I did was I ran them through a dryer with wool balls with a small amount of, therapeutic grade lavender oil drops on them. And when I opened the bag, and it wasn't strong, it wasn't kill you, because I don't like smells like that. They mess up my sinuses, trigger migraines. It was faint. But I do know that, like, if I pull, when I have gotten linen, I have bought linen, or I have walked down an aisle of a store that sells linen, And I will tell you, it smells like somebody barfed. I don't know why. I don't know what to use in the process. It's not always, but some fabrics do have a very strong, sometimes gnarly smell to them from whatever they use to process them or wherever they make them, and you can tell. Or they have a chemical smell. This didn't until I took a stack, like I folded up a piece like this thick and stuffed my face as deep as I could in it and inhaled hard, like 5, and then I'm like, is there something faint there? Like maybe something residue? Well, I couldn't have known. I couldn't have known. And I tell you what, she has a hooter. If she smelled that, she has a hooter better than my dogs. Because I have a pretty darn good hooter. And if it took all that for me to pick up just a trace of a faint something, let me tell you what, a good airing outside in the sun for 2 or 3 hours, and it would have been gone because it was clean. And I did cheat at the end because I did not take 3 hours to iron all 10 of those. And delint them. I put them in the dryer because she said that she was going to get somebody else to make another. She wanted them finished. She would pay for them, but that she was basically going to toss them in the corner. But I don't know why I mean, it was contradictory. But I thought, well, shoot. You know, why am I going to take all this extra time you're not paying me for to iron them? So they shouldn't have had. And let me tell you what, I washed them like, I think she said like 4 times, and I had to take them to the dry cleaners twice, and that came out. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Oh yeah, she did, because she promised she made yeah, because okay, the one of the techs kind of knew the situation, and she was upset when she found out she hadn't paid me, and it'd been almost 3 weeks, and somehow the doc found out that she hadn't paid, and when I came out, she came over and gave me a real angry lipful, and one of the things she said was, oh my goodness, you just had to just zip a seam all the way around. And it's like, no ma'am. And I ended up taking photos and sending an email of every step I went through. From the beginning, how I folded it, folded over, and I didn't even just do the box corners. I actually mitered the corners because it was supposed to be for public and nice. And I said, no, you don't just fold it over and have a raw edge. I said, but that was it. She just didn't want to pay. Yep, I do. Oh, Catholic school, yeah. Morning, Auntie Patricia. How you doing? How you doing this morning? I got 2 left to turn, and then I'm probably gonna let everybody go because we've had a really good time. But you know, Nancy, I do sell things here and there because it does help me out, because my insurance is really helpful, and I'd be dead without it probably, but the pay sucks, and it helps with my hobby, and it helps with other things. I've got to get clutch handles and clutch tips. That's, last time I checked, that's $125 to $150 out of my pocket. And I have to get new ones about every year, and insurance has never covered them and never will. So it helps with things like that are like, but I end up giving away more than I do selling, because it just brings me great joy. Random acts of kindness are the bomb. especially when you get that nudge to do a random act of kindness. I can't explain it, but it's like you get the nudge, and sometimes you get a story, and you're like, wow, like that story last week with that lady. Sometimes you never get the story, but you know because you've heard stories that usually God has a story in there because He nudged you. And I get a charge. I get a charge out of, you know, and that's part of what sewing gives back to me and helps me with my headspace with chronic pain and injustice and that kind of stuff. It's one of many things because I don't just sew. I do a lot of things, but a lot of what you see on here is me sewing and crafting because this is my sit time. I have to change the spark plugs on the Forerunner. I'll probably do that Sunday afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon. I made banana nut bread. I fixed Deb's belt sander. I put a light switch in because we needed it in the laundry room so we would have light. It's just who I am, and it's what needs to be done. What I love to be able to just pull out the yellow pages. Uh-oh, I'm giving away my age. What I just love to pull out Google and go, hey, can you come fix this for me? Sometimes. But that's why I didn't name the channel something sewing or quilty or confine it to crafting because you never know what kind of discussion we might end up in or what we might end up. I actually did a video when I put the light switch in. I did a little short and said, look, I did it. I did a video too of me standing on that table, a little short standing on the table with the taking the sunset pictures, but I thought, no, I don't think anybody wants to see this stuff. It was like a one-shot wonder, so there's not really, so I didn't even go back and look at those. Never a dull night. But I will take some pictures because, long story short, I'm going to Charleston for my birthday. South Carolina. Thankfully it's not a long trip. And my sister's going with me, and thankfully it's a short trip, but hopefully it will be a good birthday party thing, you know. And if nothing else, I'm planning on going down to the market in the center of Charleston and check out their Christmas, and I'm going to take pictures on the way and just have a good time. So even if the company isn't the best, then I have Deb, and I'm going to have a good drive. So you'll get some of those stories. Okay, look what you helped me do. All but like 4 of these this morning. All turned out ready for an iron and a quick sew. And then I just have to sew these other handful and find backing for like 3 or 4. Thank you, thank you. Giovanna, if I could send you some, I would. It was very, very much. It was very good. Oh, so it's the natural oils in the linen that come out. Yeah, because I couldn't understand it. The first time I walked down that aisle, and I thought, oh, and then I realized it was some of the 100% linen. So that's okay, Joe. You know, God knows. You can get married in the field and he's there. You know what? by the, I marry you by the power invested in me by such and such state, it's not going to hold your relationship together. Just saying. So, and some bishop doing it over somebody who cares about you and will stand with you and have your back. My sister got married the second time in the backyard of Nana's house, her mom's house. I made the cake. I only made 2 wedding cakes in my life. I won't do that again. Made the cake. 3-tier. It was pretty nice, too. I'm glad you're good, Auntie Patricia, so. Yeah, and that's the thing, Giovanna, is a lot of the things that go like that, like the lady in the parking lot, and I don't talk about them, it's just random, but it was like God was like, okay, I want to give you a different perspective on the day, so when you have another day like this, you'll have the reminder, because you're being a little thick, that it isn't always what it seems to be, and it may not seem like you did the right thing or you took the right path or you made the right choice making these things, but you did, because of one person that needed it going in the holidays, that was so desperate that they would talk to 2 strangers, because when she walked away, I said, who is she? She come out of your patch. Deb said, I don't know her. I said, she said, I thought she was somebody you run into. You're always talking to people. And I said, oh, not me. Not me. I said, I may not always know names. It may take me quite a bit to remember somebody's name. But let me tell you what, I remember faces pretty good, even with one meeting, especially if it's a memorable conversation or situation. I'll probably never see her again. Who knows? No, you don't. No, you don't. And you don't know, you have a choice to either strengthen somebody's rope or fray it further. And the hardest thing to do is to take a step back when you're having a hard day or things are tough. Not fraying that rope. Not dishing back. I was at the post office a few days ago, and the lady, very nice lady, but she was like overwhelmed with Christmas and people coming in being irritated, and she was a little short. Now, I could have been short back, or I could take a momentary and go, oh, she must be really overwhelmed. It's Christmas season. She's a nice person. She's, and make the choice to thank her, to tell her to have a nice day. No cracks about, wow, you're a little snarky today, aren't you? Could you be a little more helpful? And those aren't my necessarily my natural tendencies. Because of the way I would, because of things that I've gone through. But I always go back to the fact that the Jewish people say that if you ease 1/60th of someone's burden, someone's suffering, there's kindness and there's God. 1/60th. They consider 1/60th to be so impactful. What is 1/60th? Nothing. Anyway. It was good to see you too, And then, oh, one day, Giovanna, I probably will, because, I sometimes I have people talk to me, and I'm looking at them going, no, I know your face, but I don't remember. And sometimes I walk in a place and somebody knows me by name, and I go, Deb, how do these people remember me? She goes, well, it's not like you blend in. "54 years. See, kindness is free, Nan, Nancy, and Auntie Patricia. That's the thing that's one of the double standards and the things that really bothers me about the church. I know you're not supposed to forsake the body, but maybe that's why God never built a church. Jesus never built a brick and mortar church. He never endorsed a church. He never picked a synagogue. And maybe that's why, because he knew what happened to the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and that's part of the reason why Deb got married in her in Nana's backyard, in her mom's backyard, because Tony's preacher said, you're divorced, and she's divorced. I don't care whose fault it was. If you get married, you'll be living in sin and you'll be going to hell. You will not get married in my church. And that deeply hurt both of them. And that wasn't God's heart at all. It wasn't God's heart at all. They didn't need that judgment. Because it wasn't. Neither divorce was what they would have chosen. So, but I know I'm not alone, and it's good to hear echoed in here that I'm not alone. But I know that I think different than a large portion, not all, but a large portion of the population. And sometimes that's hard. But other times I'm so glad that I'm not stuck in that. But God blessed me enough to take, it's been costly, but He blessed me enough that I'm not, that I'm a better person. I'm a better person because of what I've gone through in my trials than I would have been if I hadn't. And I was telling Deb that last night. I said, my siblings' thing of success was what was drilled into us. You graduate from high school and you go to college and you meet somebody and you graduate from college and you get a good stable job and you get financially stable, and the bonus is you have kids. And if you do that, then you're a success. And you've done something with your life that's worthwhile and worth noting. And if you don't, then you've pissed away your potential and you haven't accomplished anything at all and you're worthless. You're a failure and a disappointment. And I was telling her last night that sometimes it'd be nice to be more financially secure and have a little less cray-cray going on, control chaos. But if that meant being like them, no, I'm glad. I'm glad I got pushed or tossed or whatever, shoved to take the path less traveled. I'd rather worry about paying for my medicine because the month is short and tight than having the money and having my house so cold and sterile and feel like a prison. My very expensive, very large house, custom, in a very exclusive area or car or whatever. But then again, nobody has ever said that I was sane. Okay, you head out, Auntie Patricia. You take care. You have a good day. Morning, Donnell. Is Debbie in? Morning, Debbie. I was telling Giovanna I'm gonna get on the tutorial for these angels. This morning I wanted to get a stack turned so I can get these top stitched and figure out a couple little things, but I got most of these turned. I think I had 3 already done. I'm gonna hop off here because I've been on here almost 2 hours. Auntie Patricia, you have a very good day. You stay safe. Hopefully I'll catch up with you in chat. Thank you, Donnell. Thank you for everybody who came in and meandered and kept me company while I was getting these turned out. The rest of this is a lot more simple or less time consuming because from here I top stitch it, do the last stitching, and the rest is just the folding and the handwork. So thank you, Joe, for coming and hanging out. Hey, no worry, Donnell. I mean, shoot, sleep in. You know, I just happened to be up. I couldn't fall back asleep. And I thought, I haven't been on in a few days. I've got this stack to turn. I do have, I think, 8 over there to sew, and then all of the covers are done. But check this out. Wait a minute, where is it? Where is it? I gotta show you something. Down here. Check this out. Keep folding them up. Look at that. Is that not cool? Now, I wish I could have gotten the trees situated so that they were standing up, but I ain't going to worry about that. We're going to do the imperfect works. And this is the gold. Dun 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 dun. But I think those are so cool. I only made 3 because it may just be my crazy idea that somebody might want an angel, a pet, might want to get one to either have it for their pet or to memorialize a pet. You know, because when I've lost an animal, I have gone out that Christmas and I have found a special ornament, something that connects here, not just something willy-nilly, and every year it goes on my tree after that. So, and I wish I had one that was more catitude, but I haven't figured that one out yet, so. Some days maybe. Have a very good nap, Giovanna. Thank you, Joe, for popping in. Oh, it's true, Giovanna. People do have laughs. I take care of. I've been adopted by 18 orphans in Africa, so I know. And I am blessed. I am blessed in ways that are not tangible. Or, you know, earthly, so. But thank you, Donnell. I appreciate it. I mean, most of these are just, the colors came out and they make me happy. I really like this one too. This is the other purple. And somewhere in this stack is a silver one. It goes with that. Here it is. I have a couple more of these too. And both have their points, so. But yeah, there's lots of colors, and there's only 2 that I bombed out on figuring out the backing on. But I have 2 purples done out. I have the silver, which depending on the light can look blue, but it's like a foil with snowflakes. and it's supposed to go like this. And there is one with silver wings in that pile to be sewn. And then I found this purple, because one person asked for one that was purple, and I remembered I had seen this a couple of days before, and this was the first kind of purple Christmas fabric I thought, and I thought it'd be perfect. And then about a week and a half later, I found this purple, and I thought it was really pretty. Now I have a blue and a green with kind of the stars and the swirlies. So it would be a blue with these kind of stars and a darker swirly and a green. But that way people had a choice between two purples. And I did not make a lot of each. I just made, so. Okay. Oh Lord, I've been on here 2 hours, but I really appreciate it. I love you guys. Thank you for popping in. Debbie. I had a good time. I hope y'all had a good time. It's gonna be a good day. I may pop on later. Like I told y'all, I am working on a tutorial, but I wanted to figure out a couple things on this. A couple tips, there's a couple things that I think could go a little smoother, and if I can figure it out, and then it may not work for you, but if it helps you, I'd rather figure it out before I put the tutorial out. So, and then I got butterflies. I got to do butterflies for that. I got to check these out anyway because they look too cool for words. I mean, look at that. And I was not expecting this one to be, the template to be so big. It just says large. Oh, 1 3/4 by 2 1/4. That's the approximate size of the large. And the small, 1 1/4 by 1 1/2. So these, I think, are going to be cooler than the hearts, although the hearts are cool. And that was collaboration. That was collaboration because I had been looking for the butterflies, and then I did the tutorial on the yo-yos, which thankfully I think has helped some people, and talked about it, and then Michelle found a link for them reasonable, and my sister says, oh, butterflies, I like those. I'll get the butterflies. So she got the template, so you see, all kind of work together, so. Yes. I wish I could have some coffee. They need water. Alright, I'm gonna go, you go. Thank you for popping in. I loves you. I appreciate you. And I will show you some finished angels, get a butterfly work on. I think I'll try and get the butterfly tutorial out this afternoon, because that shouldn't be too like monstrously difficult, but I could be wrong. And then the angel tutorial maybe tomorrow, after I have some of these sewn. But it's a good start to the day, because I think there's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 22 23 24 25 26. There's 27 with these two that are at this point. So that's not too bad. Drop the cross, drop the bow. This ribbon's not going to work on this anyway. So, alright. Loves you. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will talk to you soon.